What is up, Betterment family? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Premium. Happy Thursday. It is Word Thursday, and on Word Thursday, we go through a word to help you on your 1% better journey. And today the word is shred. I'm really excited to cover this word with you. I have some things here to help me drive this word home. I've got some bacon. Who likes bacon? I've got some bacon. I've got some bleach. Who loves bleach? And I've got some candles. Check it out. What? And we're going to use all three to help us cover this word because the thing about what we're going to do on May 1st here in our premium group, starting the summer shred, is we have to get our minds right around why we're doing what we're doing and how it's working. And so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page because we've got just a couple short weeks before we get that thing launched on May 1st. So I'm super stoked about this shred. I'm very excited to do this with you, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page, okay? Because the word shred, or as we're going to cover, cutting, detoxing, cleansing, losing fat, burning fat, all that stuff. Well, the health and fitness industry is very confused about why and how we do that. And so I want to make sure that here in Better Daily, we're doing this thing with the right mindset, with the right spirit, because otherwise it won't make us better. It'll just be short-term stupid results for, looking pretty naked. And that's not what we do around here. I mean, fine, if you want to look good naked, that's great. But we have much bigger and better things to do. So let's dive into this thing, okay? First, let me clarify what the health and fitness industry understands as cutting or shredding or cleansing. What's up, Janet? Thank you for joining me this morning. The health and fitness industry understands what we're going to do in May as a simple calorie balance issue. And the calorie balance issue is if we burn more than we take in. Okay, so imagine yourself like a bathtub. Draw a box around yourself. You are a bathtub. and you have water coming into the bathtub via the faucet, and you have water coming out of the drain at the same time. And imagine your body weight, or that's composed of a bunch of things, but let's say it's your fat and it's your muscle and it's your water and it's all the things. Let's say you want that to come down. You'd like to burn some fat. You'd like to lower your body weight, right? Then the conventional health and fitness way of looking at that is to say, okay, well, we need more water going out the drain of the bathtub than we have coming in the faucet. And so we call that water in the health and fitness industry. We call that calories. And we say, okay, what you need to do is you need to track every morsel of food that comes into your face. You need to account for every calorie coming in. And you have to make sure that you're burning more calories than you're taking in. Because if you don't do that, you will not lose fat, you will not lose weight. And so that's very important. And okay, so people will do that. People will say, okay, well, I consume 2,000 calories a day. If I would just cut that by 500 calories and I consume 1,500 calories a day, as long as I keep burning the same amount, or maybe I work out harder, walk more or whatever, then I'm going to burn more than I take in. And so they'll do that, and they'll see some results for a few days, right? But what happens is you're not a bathtub, you're a metabolic process. And so what happens is your body starts getting used to you eating less, right? And what it does is it tries to make the outflow equal. Your body's very, very smart, has lots of reactions going on. It is not a bathtub. It's not as simple as turning the faucet down a little higher or lowering the faucet down a little bit or pulling the drain plug. It's not like that. When you start eating fewer calories, your body starts finding more efficient ways to do things. And so over time, what happens is you start to see some cutting or shredding or detoxing or cleansing or whatever you want to call it. You start seeing results, but you start seeing those results slow down, eventually stop. And then what happens is you've taught your metabolism to be very, very good and efficient at a lower amount of calories eaten, and your output's still pretty high. And so then what happens is people go, well, I've lost some weight, maybe I'll try to eat a little more like I was before, and unfortunately their metabolism is now conditioned to be low, right? And therein lies the problem, and that's why we have to change that. That's why we have to do a better job here in Better Daily of what we mean by a cut, because, well, it's a very frustrating cycle for people, and they find themselves with a terrible relationship with their food and a very terrible relationship with the idea of calories or energy input and output. And so I want to use these things to illustrate what shredding is and what it's not, and how we're going to use that effectively in May. Kat says, I can attest to that. I've been at a calorie deficit for years, and menopause has me putting on fat like crazy. Movement or lack of it was my struggle, right? So what she's saying is, like, I've tried to eat less and exercise more, and what I've found is I just keep getting fatter, and that's not good. And the reason for that, because the really, hardcore calorie gurus out there would tell you, no, if you think you're at a deficit and you're not losing weight or fat, then you're not really at a deficit. And what they're missing is our bodies are very smart. Our bodies are very smart biological machines. And so our smart biological machines know that if we're not going to eat more, then we have to start cutting processes and systems, right? So imagine you get an electric bill, and it's like $1,000 for this month. I don't know about you, but that would set me back. It'd be like $1,000 electric bill. What in the world? I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, I love draining $1,000 every month on my electric bill. What I'd start doing is start looking around my house to figure out what I could turn off that's using so much power, because I don't like being at $1 deficit in my household for my electricity. And the same is true of your body. If you have too much demand, like $1,000 electric bill, if you have so much activity compared to what's coming in, your body's going to start cutting off systems. It's going to start saying, our digestive tract doesn't need to work that intensely. Let's dial that back. Our muscle, we could get rid of some muscle tissue. Our brain is using like 70% of our energy around here. What if we dial that back a little bit? What if you didn't get to feel so energetic or happy or joyful or whatever? Let's turn those things down. Our liver has been working really hard lately. Let's dial that back. And so what happens is our body's really smart, and there's a lot of different ways that our body can deal with a long-term caloric deficit. And it's not by burning all your fat. That's so true. So Janet says, I can't wait for the extra support to successfully shred. I'm really looking forward to it too. Kat says, I'm scared of shredding. Sounds ominous. I'm not sure I can keep up. Well, hopefully I can allay some of your fears here, because this will be structured, it'll be helpful, and I really want to get our mindsets wrapped around this. So let's talk about what the fitness industry sees and what we're not actually doing. Okay, so one of the words in the fitness industry for shredding is cutting, right? So I got a nice piece of bacon here. You guys like bacon? Check it out. So I got a nice piece of bacon here. And this is what this is why they call it cutting. You see this? So in bacon, bacon's a really good piece of meat to see this. You've got your muscle. You got your pork belly muscle here. This is the pig's abs. And then you've got your fat right here. And they call it cutting because, what they're picturing is I've got fat on my triceps, and if I could just cut that off, boom, the fat would be gone, and now all I'd have left is muscle. And fine, but that's not what's happening. You're not cutting fat off your tricep. That bothers me, because people start seeing parts of their body as like, if I could just cut the fat off of this area, I'd look great. And so it's not quite like that. That's not how it works. So this word cutting comes from the bodybuilding community. And what happens in the bodybuilding community is they will grow a lot of muscle. That's the job, whether you're a figure competitor, or a physique competitor, a bikini competitor, or a straight up bodybuilder, because those are different categories, by the way. And so they'll grow all this muscle, right? And then depending on how their metabolism works, or what age they are, or what kind of competition they're doing, about 12 to 8 weeks prior to being on stage, they will go through a very, very intensive cutting process. And that's what they're doing. They are depriving themselves of caloric intake. They are manipulating their water weight with salt intake and stuff. It's a very brutal process. I've trained for a long time. I've been around those people. They have an amazing amount of self-discipline. It's crazy, right? The problem with this, however, though, is they're doing this in a way so that they can show up on stage. What's the goal? To show up on stage in the most least water weight they could possibly have on their body, the least fat, so that the judges can see the muscle that they've grown and see how their body has shown up, right, in this state. And then as soon as they're done with their pictures, as soon as they're done with the judging, they don't intend to stay at that weight. They don't intend to have this low a body fat percentage all the time or this low of water weight all the time. They're gonna go eat a whole bunch of Pop-Tarts. I'm not kidding. That's what they do. After a bodybuilding competition, physique competition, figure competitive, they're done with this crazy fast they've done, and now they're gonna blow back up. And that's actually good because they're trying to grow their muscle back. They had to lose a lot to get here, to be show ready, stage ready, right? So I don't like the cutting mentality. I don't like it. It's too temporary. That's not the right way to think about shredding. It's a temporary thing to show up for a temporary event. And in Better Daily, we don't really do that. I can't really think of a lot of good reasons to be temporary about anything that we're doing with regard to our own bodies. Because in the long haul, a lot of those bodybuilders who've done that for years on end, their metabolisms are shot. I've worked with guys who look like mountains of men and their testosterone's 50. Should be at least 500 or more, but their testosterone's 50 because they have depleted their body so much that it's going to take a while for their metabolism to bounce back, and who knows, they might have done some permanent damage. So anyway, I don't like the idea of cutting. There's another thing going around in the health and fitness industry, and it's the idea of cleansing or detoxing, right? So I've got iodine water here, and I've got bleach. Bleach is pretty cleansing, right? Don't drink bleach. This is not what Alex is saying, right? But there's this idea of detoxing or cleansing. The fitness industry has taken this cutting, shredding idea and kind of remarketed it as hey, you have lots of toxins in your body. See that? Lots of toxins. And what we need to do is we need to cleanse you. Aha. And boom, toxins gone. Great system, right? Well, there's some problems with that mentality as well with regard to cutting. Now, don't get me wrong. There are many things in our bodies that would be wonderful to cleanse or detox, right? But the problem with this is that our body is constantly detoxing us. Your kidneys, your liver, your skin, your large intestine, they are constantly detoxifying you. If they weren't constantly detoxifying you, then you'd be dead, right? Because the metabolic processes that occur in your body to keep you alive are producing things that could kill you if it builds up in your system, right? So your kidneys are constantly working hard to get this stuff out of your system. Your liver's constantly working hard to get this stuff out of your system. Your skin even does that. Your large intestine even does that. So the idea that you have to do something really special for a very short period of time in order to cleanse all the sludge within yourself, that's not really true. Now, there are things that you can do, and we will do them during our shred program. There are things that you can do to make it easier on your body to get rid of things that it doesn't need. You guys have heard me talk about a process called autophagy, which is stimulated by fasting. That means when your digestive system is empty and it has an opportunity to take a break, it actually stimulates the immune system to start going through and looking for cells in the body that aren't doing their job anymore. And that's your body's, you can think of it as a detoxing or purification process, but that's your body's way of cleaning out the old, out with the old, in with the new, right? So I don't like the bleach and iodine idea of cutting and cleansing either, because it's kind of snake oily. Honestly, that's what it is. It's hey, if you'll drink this special juice and take these 3 supplements and only drink protein shakes for the next 5 days, then you'll be cleansed, you'll be pure, and everything will be dandy. And Unfortunately, that's not true. That's like I tend to think of it as a nutrient supported fast. That's what most of the cleanses and the detoxes are in the health and fitness industry. They are a nutrient supported fast. So if you're having a protein shake and that's all you're kind of living off of for a few days, and maybe you're taking a few supplements that act as diuretics and maybe they protect the liver and that sort of thing, I mean, fine. But I don't see that as a very long-term view of shredding either. Because you gather enough toxins over a year and maybe you should cleanse every once in a while. That's not a very effective mental strategy with regard to shredding either. And sure, people lose a lot of water weight and sure, people lose a lot of fat. You do the same thing if you'd fast, but fine, whatever. It's nice to pay $200 for your cleanse or your detox, right? At least you have some skin in the game. Fasting's free, but I'm not picking on you too much. I just want you to understand why these things tend to proliferate in the health and fitness industry, right? So we've got the cutting, that's the bacon and the scissors. We've got the cleansing and the detoxing, that's the bleach with the iodine, right? The darkness inside gets cleansed and now you're pure. Those are both kind of crummy ways to think about this cutting idea. And so last but not least, I'm going to use a candle to illustrate this process because this is actually much more in keeping with what we'll be doing here in Better Daily. Because we do want to support the body's ability to use fat. And that will result in you looking more toned in areas of your body where you have extra fat on it. We're not cutting it off with scissors. We're just signaling to the body, hey, you could use this. You could use this fat. It's here. It's available to you. Right? And similarly, we're going to do some things to support the body's ability to detoxify itself, to cleanse itself. It's already doing it. Let's do some things to support that process. And maybe those things will stick, and maybe you actually get a little more efficient at clearing toxins from your body, and maybe you won't have to carry so much water weight on you all the time. That would be good, right? So let's look at this. I've got two candles here, right? I've got one candle, just a normal candle. It's a little tea light candle. And then I've got another candle. I have split it in half, and I have pulled out. I didn't do this one-handed earlier. There we go. Boom. And I've pulled out the wick. See that? See the wick? Can you see that? It's really small, but there it is. Okay. So I've got my two candles here. I'm gonna light them both. I'm gonna light this one first just to make my point. All right, you see that? I've got a candle lit, and then I've got my wick lit. I'm talking over it. I might blow them out. Janet, I missed your comment earlier. I wish my brain was using that much energy. All right, see this? See this candle's burning really well. Look at this wick. Do you see the wick? It's burning there. I'm gonna wait just a few seconds to make my point here, but check it out. Both candles are burning. Both of them are using energy, right? Both of them are able to support this flame. But what I want you to notice is in a little bit, this wick's gonna burn out. This wick here is gonna burn out. And this wick is gonna stick around for a very long time. We could stand here for probably a couple hours. I'm not sure how long it takes for a tea light candle to burn out. And the question is why? Well, there's two fuels available to this candle, and there's only one fuel available to this candle. Oh, dang it, burnt out already. Right, I'm gonna set this down so I can talk to you. No, let's keep the image burning. You see what I did there? Dad joke. All right, so in our shred, the primary thing we're going to be doing is showing our body that it has two fuels available to it. Okay, one fuel is the food that we eat every day. See that right there in the wick? The wick is the fuel that we eat every day. Carbohydrates, fats, that's the fuel that we eat every day. And our body can be powered by that, right? It can be powered by it. But as you can see, the wick doesn't last long. It's not a lot. We really don't eat that much every day. Some of us eat more than others, but we really don't. We just don't in terms of calories. We really don't. So if you eat 2,000 calories a day, you're like, oh, okay, that's 2,000 calories. Maybe you eat 5,000 calories a day. Do you know how much fuel you have on your body right now? It's crazy. It's so crazy. If you're 200 pounds and you're 10% body fat, which would be a pretty shredded 200 pounds, by the way. But if you're 200 pounds and 10% body fat, you have 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. That's 20 pounds of fat. That's 70,000 calories. 70,000. That's how many calories you have on your body ready to use. If you're a shredded 200-pound person. Now, let's say you're not shredded. Let's say you're 30% body fat and 150 pounds. If you do the math on that, you still have 45 pounds of fat, I think. 45 pounds of fat on you. 3,500 times 45, that's a lot, right? And just like with this candle, you are the flame. Your body, burning calories every day. Your brain, your heart, your mind, your lungs, your muscles, all the stuff. That's the flame. That needs energy to keep burning, right? The food that we eat every day is the wick. That's the food we eat every day, whether it's carbs or fats. That's the food we eat every day. And that's not a lot compared to the candle. And the problem for many people is that their metabolism cannot tap in to the candle wax. Their metabolism is dependent on replenishing the wick every day, right? Rather than being able to tap in to the candle wax. And that is the long-term play of a good shred. A good shred shows the body, hey, we're going to keep feeding you. Don't be afraid, the wick's not going anywhere. But I'm going to need you to learn how to use this wax I've got. I'm going to need you to be able to tap into both sources of fuel regularly so that wax doesn't just to keep building up and building up and building up untapped. Does that make sense? This is the spirit of a good shred. A good shred is the same idea as doing an endurance phase of training, and that is to say, our body is capable of burning 2 sets of fuel, and it's necessary for us to take steps with our metabolism. It's necessary to signal to it and show it, hey, you can burn fat as a fuel source. You won't die. It'll be okay. In fact, it's probably better to be able to tap into our candle wax. Because if all we're doing is burning that wick every day, that's hard. We become, unless we want that wick to burn out, which you don't, that means you die. Unless you want that wick to burn out, you have to keep replenishing it all the time. Your body doesn't know how to dig into the wax. It doesn't know how to melt it. Doesn't know how to burn it. And I know, this isn't the perfect metaphor, but it's a decent one. And that's what we'll be doing in the shred. We'll be spending 21 days using science and practice and discipline to show our body how to dig into the wax so that as we continue the year, our body's able to pull from both fuel stores, okay? Doesn't mean we're gonna stop eating. I'm not gonna ask you to fast for 21 days. That would be a really quick way to pull the Band-Aid off, but I don't recommend it. Not even I'll fast for 21 days in this season of life. But we want to support our body in the process of learning how to use both sources of fuel, both the food that we consume and the energy that we've already stored. And that's the rub, and that's the way I want you to be thinking about our shred starting on May 1st. So that's Word Thursday for today. Thank you guys for joining me on the word shred. We're not cutting calories like a bodybuilder. We are not cleansing like bleach and iodine. We're not snipping the fat like the scissors and the bacon. What we are doing though is we're teaching our body how to dig into the wax, the stored energy of our body, instead of just burning through the wick. And look at that. Look how long that flame can burn on that wax, right? That poor wick died a long time ago, and we'd have to just keep feeding it wick. But not this one. This one's doing just fine. So, guys, this has been Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Premium. I hope this is an illustration that will help you to understand how to think about our shred coming up. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting you guys some information on what that'll all entail very soon. Until then, it's just 1%. You got this.